Hello, my beautiful guys and dolls, and welcome to an episode of Before the Curtain. I'm your host, Abbie Campbell, and we are here to discover the passion behind the performance. Artists of all backgrounds will share their stories about what it takes to create, survive, and thrive in the competitive world of entertainment. Finding inspiration in their journeys, we aim to bring you everything that happens before the curtain. Today's guest is a director, choreographer, and world-renowned ballet mistress. If I told you all of her resume, it would take the entirety of the podcast, so I'm going to do my best to give you just a little taste. She trained at the Royal Ballet School, Bolshoi Ballet School, and the Erdang Academy of Performing Arts in London. She's had an extensive career as a principal ballet dancer across Europe, Asia, and the U.S. She evolved into coaching principal dancers from prestigious ballet companies all over the world, from London to Miami, New York to San Francisco, and Canada to Houston. Certified in many areas of expertise, she's a certified master Pilates teacher, the Polistar method. Wow, I'm really doing great here. Dance medicine specialist, licensed, gyrotonics. Oh my gosh, I can't do this. Yes, I can.
Great.
Hi, Jesus.
Hello.
It's okay. I'm human.
You're great.
Gyrokinesis trainer. I did it, guys. I've read before. I know English. Floor bar teacher and certified PBT trainer. She worked directly with the icons of the entertainment world, Michael Jackson, David Bowie, Paula Abdul, Garth Brooks, Backstreet Boys, and the late, great Jerome Robbins, which are just a few of them, guys. And yes, there are many, many more. Cirque du Soleil in Las Vegas appointed her as their resident ballet mistress for all 8 of their shows: Love, Caw, Believe, Viva Elvis, O, Zumanity, MJ1, and Mystère, where she was the assistant choreographer to Debbie Brown in the original dance segments. She also was the ballet mistress to Twyla Tharp's Sinatra Dances With Me, Celine Dion's New Day, Phantom of the Opera Las Vegas Spectacular, Notre Dame de Paris, Havana Nights, Enter the Night, and this is the other one I didn't ask to pronounce because I always feel like I'm going to pronounce it wrong. Siegfried
and
Roy show at the Mirage, including multiple of their TV specials and movies. She's been with Nevada Ballet for a long time, and in 2015 was appointed their ballet mistress and held the title of interim artistic director and the children's ballet mistress. There's so much more to this incredible artist that she's done and continues to do, but it's time we hear from the legend herself. My guys and dolls, please help me welcome to the mic the elegant, the great Tara Foy.
Thank you so much. Wow, I'm exhausted listening to that.
I should have read through that.
That's
honestly,
okay.
Every time I read an intro, I get like nervous.
No.
And my heart starts racing like I'm going to say it wrong, and then I end up saying it wrong.
It's okay. It's all good.
Hello. So what originally brought you to the U.S.?
Gosh, what originally brought me to the U.S.? Okay, well, it was my husband, Gary Foy, by Flying by Foy. And I had met him when I was doing Peter Pan in London, and he was obviously Flying by Foy. So him and his father came over to do all the flying special effects. And I think it was a setup, I have to say. His father-in-law, the great late Peter Foy, I had met. We were out. Well, the cast went out for dinner, and he met me and he sat with me and started talking about this, that, and the other. And then he said, I think my son would really like you. And I said, is this a setup? And he kind of looked at me. Anyway, cut a long story short, Gary came over about a couple of weeks later, and we actually hit it off really, really well. And we started dating, and we did the show in London. For a year we travelled around the United Kingdom. Then we went into the West End to the Aldwych Theatre, and it was fabulous. And then we did a long distance relationship, and he was travelling obviously all over the world with company, and I was in London, and he proposed, and we had this very romantic. Why am I even telling you this? I told you I didn't want to say anything. No, it's all good. We had the very romantic wedding in London. In a very famous actors and actresses church called St. Paul's Church. And then we had our big reception on the Hispaniola, which is on the River Thames. So it was very, very wonderful, and it was just a whirlwind, great romance. And then I literally 2 weeks later, we went on our honeymoon, and then I moved straight to Las Vegas, and I've been here ever since. So that tells you I've been here a long time. I was 12 now when I got here. I was 12 years old. No, I wasn't. I was a child bride. But it was, yes, and I've been here ever since. And coming here where in the late 80s, the massive shows were still going on, Moulin Rouge and Lieder de Paris and Jubilee and Folies Bergère and all those fabulous shows that had the most incredible, beautiful prima ballerina dancers that were like 6 foot plus. And there was little me coming in, barely 5 foot. I was 5'2" on my resume. And I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to come and I'll just settle down here and, just be Mrs. Foy and do and that lasted for about 2 minutes. No, I mean, not that. I mean, we had an amazing, life and stuff, but I started going to backstage and which was the open at that time, open professional ballet studio. And it was run by Joan Pelthorpe and Steve DeBecker, who just passed there not that long ago, and Elise de Valet, who was kind of like the director, and she ran the studio. And she became a very, very dear friend of mine, and she would teach every day a 1:30 ballet class. And I would go because the backstage was very close to where I was living. And I would go take ballet class. And she asked me, I hadn't been there very long. She said, my dear friend Vasily Sulich, who was artistic director and founder of Nevada Ballet Theatre with Nancy Housel, was looking for another ballet dancer for the company. Oh, I'd like to, for you to go and see him. And that's what I did. And he gave me a contract for the company. He was wonderful. Vasily was wonderful director and wonderful choreographer and just wonderful to be in his presence. And I learned so much from him. And then through that, I just stayed and did many, many different roles in the company, for many, many years. As I say, if I give you the dates, then you'll know how old I am, and then I'm going to have to kill you. No. Yeah, so Vasily Sulich was the first director that I was with, and then it was, hello, I'm getting a blank. Oh my gosh. You'll have to dub this one out because I can't remember who the second one was. It'll come to me. Oh my gosh, who was it? Then it was obviously James Canfield, and I was with him as his ballet mistress, rapporteur, James ballet mistress, interim artist director. I had like 1,000 roles, but it was so fabulous. I mean, it was so fabulous being with him and working with him. Oh my gosh. I mean, we staged, he was just so generous in gifting me to work with him so closely in the choreography of Cinderella and Sleeping Beauty, Nutcracker, his Romeo and Juliet, which is going to be performed in a couple of weeks, which is fabulous, and you all have to go see it because it's a masterpiece. And he's brilliant, and he was a brilliant artist director, but brilliant choreographer, just a brilliant teacher, brilliant human being, an incredible friend. And I learned so much from him. And then when he moved on, then Roy Kaiser, who's our president, the director at the moment, and I worked with him, for a brief while. But it was incredible, and I feel very honored that I had many, 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 many years with that company. First as an artiste, but then as all the way to the different roles that I had there, and just learned so much in what I love, and my passion is classical ballet. So, yeah. Really cool.
And did you already have experience teaching?
I had.
Before you came to
I
Vegas?
had. I had gone to, was very blessed. I had gone to one of the very first academies in London called North London Academy of Education and Arts, which then became the Erding Academy of Performing Arts. And it was in the area that I used to live, which is very, very lucky. And I got the most incredible training. It was a very small academy, and the best teachers. My teacher, Leonie Erding, originally from South Africa, had this incredible school, and she had incredible contacts with these amazing ballet dancers, ballet teachers. We had patrons from New London Festival Ballet, from the Bolshoi. I mean, we had the best training, and it was fabulous. And through that, I learned my method of Cecchetti, which is instilled in me in my teaching. And I became what they called a Cecchetti scholar. and people audition from all over the United Kingdom. Hundreds and hundreds of, youth kids come to this special audition, and then you get chosen, and they choose just a very small amount, 12 young juniors and 12 seniors out of the whole of the United Kingdom. And so I was very blessed, and I got chosen as one of those scholars. And out of that, it was classes that we did at the weekend, and we were taught by teachers from White Lodge, which is the younger school of the upper school of the Royal, and then obviously the Royal, and that's how I got scholarshiped in to the Royal Ballet, and that was just incredible. I mean, the journey there was fabulous, and was able to work with the company, and I mean, and as a student as well as kind of like working with them, you got to see them perform every night, and that was just going to Covent Garden, and you got your student ticket, and you'd sit there in the gallery and just watch the most famous principal balletrinas, absolutes of our time that now obviously are well seasoned. But I feel so honored to have been just a part of that time. Kenneth McMillan, Frederick Ashton, I mean, the incredible choreographers. And it was just that. So I felt blessed with my training and who I was taught by.
Mm.
And through that, then I just, I love to perform. But I had kind of like a gift at such a young age to teach too. So I was offered a contract in a company called the Dublin City Ballet, and I was offered a principal contract there. And it was there. Obviously, I was blessed to do amazing, incredible roles in every ballet under the sun. But that's where I found that I could really teach and had a gift for it. But coaching as well, and staging ballets, but just really enjoyed, that process. But it was funny. We affiliated to the company. We had this massive school, and I actually, and don't laugh at this, everybody, but I used to teach jazz at the school, and they had asked some of us from the company. They put us in kind of like groups and asked us to teach, for about a month. And they had about, I don't know, I think there was 4 or 5 of us that were asked to do it. Anyway, cut long story short, and they chose who were the best people that were, and they had chose me and the girl that I was also teaching with. And we started doing, and I was teaching forever. I was teaching jazz. I mean, I was like a big jazz teacher, as well as obviously the ballet, but jazz was huge. So I found myself doing that for a longest time. But obviously it was the ballet that, obviously it was ballet musical theatre, but the ballet was something that I just, loved. My passion was it, and just continued to do that. And then obviously when I eventually came to this country, which was a gift, and then came to Las Vegas. I came straight from London to Las Vegas. I just got into that and just was handed to it. My father-in-law, Peter, he shared the kind of like the land down in Patrick where Fernandez were. Fernandez, the conservatory, I don't know. Mm-mm. Anyway, it was at that time one of the biggest studios in Vegas, if not the biggest. And they shared a land. And my father-in-law went to the director of the school, Fernandez, and said my daughter-in-law was coming. And anyway, so they gave me a job as running the ballet program at Fernandez. And I suppose that was the beginning of, and that was many, many years ago. But it was great. And I fell in love and so passionate about my teaching and the kids and what I could do. And I could see that I was really helping and making a difference, and out of that just it snowballed from there. But the difference of what I could do not only for the youth, but obviously for the professionals and for the caliber of, dancers that I've been able to work with, and they, the trust in what I'm able to give and just change. I just feel that there's brilliant teachers out there, and I have, mentors that I have, I'm very grateful for. But then I just feel I'm just very unique in what I do. And ballet is very, very hard, and especially if you're not at a conservatory or at an academy or a school, and you're more at like a comp studio, where I'm at, right now, and have been for a while now. These kids, they are forced to take a ballet class once to twice a week because they are mandatory. ballet, jazz, contemporary, because they want to compete.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you're going in going, you don't want to do, but there's some gifted students where I'm at, and I'm very blessed to have them. Only a handful. There's only a handful that love the ballet. Only a handful. And, when there's 150, comp kids, you're like only these bit, but, they learn to love it. And again, but there are the ones that are doing great. There are the ones that are becoming, great all-round dancers. But then obviously then you go into an establishment like Nevada Ballet Theatre, and they have an incredible school there too. But then it's different because they do take ballet every day.
Mm-hmm.
And point, and compared to a comp studio who you'll be lucky if they're doing twice a week.
Mm-hmm.
So trying to make these dancers in 59.5 minutes and make them do something. So you have to be really on your game and literally on your toes to be able to produce.
Mm-hmm.
But I love a challenge. And I like to see that dance go, Miss Tara, thank you, I really appreciate it at the end of the day. But it's great. No, I'm very passionate about it, and I find unique ways of making, the dancer understand their bodies. And I mean, that for me, being a dance medicine specialist as well, and worked in a physical therapy clinic. I worked for Keith Cleven, the late Keith Cleven, for many, many years. And I actually went because I got an injury when I was in Siegfried Roy, but it wasn't through Siegfried Roy. I was doing a non-profit company called Opus Dance Ensemble, and it was a fabulous company. Artistic director was Gary McCaven and Dolly Calapaz. And I had seen it when I was visiting here before I moved here, and I just thought this company was incredible. It was only a small company. It was about maybe about 13, 14 people. Mixture of boys and girls, or men and women, but they were the best of the best. These women were incredible. They were classically trained point dancers, divas, but they could do everything. And they were principals of the major shows, but they were all 5'10", 5'11", 6 foot, and I'm like, how could I do this? And I used to take my girls professional classes every day for 4:30, and he just said, Tara, we absolutely love you, but you were too short.
Mm-hmm.
We're just too short. And I said, I know, I get it, I understand. And I said, that's okay though, but thank you for allowing me to come to audition. And then it was like probably a couple of days later, McGarrick said, listen, you know what, I don't care how short you are, we absolutely love you, you're too talented, we just want you to be in the company. And I said, you serious? And I said, yes. And so I was in this company, non-profit, of course, and I was dancing with, the most, incredible, like Leslie Bandy, who just, still is one of my incredible mentors. And she's from New Zealand, and I think she's moved to Scotland now. Shout out Leslie Bandy. She was just so fabulous, so just incredible. But some incredible dancers, Sue White. Shout out Sue. Dolly Calapaz, some heavy hitters that were just phenomenal, but they were so tall. And there was little old me, but they allowed me to be a part of, and created ballets for me and danced with them. It was a phenomenal time, and to have that. But unfortunately, I strained my calf when I was doing that, and I was double dipping, and we were rehearsing for Siegfried Roy for 5 months. And anyway, so I ended up having to go to physical therapy, which was at the clinic at Keith Cleven's, and that was my introduction to him and to the clinic, and to getting certified in the Polestar method of Pilates, where we were the very first group. There was about, I think, 12 of us or something, that were kind of like the guinea pigs of the Polestar certification in the West Coast. Elizabeth Larkham and Brent Anderson. And it was fabulous.
And that's different than the, like if you go to, what's it called?
Yes, very different.
Very different than what, I say standard. I don't want to use the word standard.
Yeah, no, because it is. I mean, there's classical Pilates as well, but we were trained in, obviously, classical Pilates, but this was their method of Polestar, which is in rehabilitation.
Okay.
So that's what was so unique about us. We were, learning the foundation of Pilates, but for rehabilitation for patients. Mm-hmm. And obviously being at the clinic, that was just, the merge that we did. And so it was wonderful to be able to do that. And we did our training and got our certification. And I remember Keith coming up to me and saying, "Are you interested in working in the clinic?" And I was like, oh my gosh, I would love to. And my best friend, Louis, shout out Louis. And I said, well, we'd love to. I said, if Louis and I could work, together, it would be great. Oh, yeah, sure. She's brilliant. She's a physician's assistant, has been for many, 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 many years, and an ex-ballerina. And we actually met at Siegfried Roy, at an audition at Siegfried Roy, and we both got the job, and we've been best of friends ever since. She's actually the godmother of my son. Mm. So we got certified together and worked together in the clinic for many, many years. And it was just incredible to have that, that foundation. I think, we, and Julie Julieta Reed, has her own place at Origin. And, therapy, we all got certified many, many years ago. Like, we probably are the longest, but Darlie Kellepaz certified in this town. Like, the longest, almost 30 years. I was 12, I told you, when I was 12 when I came to town. Did I tell you I was 12? So, it's changed and people have flooded in, and anybody that is actually got their own studio, their own thing, they've come through. 9 times out of 10 came through the clinic as a patient. Mm. And, they found their way and they've done incredibly well. And I'm so proud of what they've achieved. And there's some great studios, And so that actually, and I'm sure my partner, Sasha Judkins, Steve's Judkins' wife, and I are actually working on our own certification, which will be coming out in April of next year. Pilates certification.
Oh.
Of our own, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. So I'm really excited about that. So that's definitely in the works. So for all of you wonderful peeps that are interested in doing that, yeah, please get in touch with us because we're looking to be ready to set sail in April of next year.
And you guys, and
Sasha, yeah.
Yeah, you guys just do the Polestar method?
No, we'll be creating totally our own. Like,
okay.
We looked and saw how many people were doing their own thing, and I'm like, interesting. So, but yes. Yeah, creating of everywhere. I mean, Sasha's got an incredible background. She's also English in Pilates as well. So she's, I've dabbled in a little bit of Bassi. She's done Bassi, and so yeah. I mean, there's a lot of incredible things that we're excited about to bring to the table for new people that want to get involved. But it's going to be something. Again, people want to do something different, but our the knowledge that we have together is quite incredible. So yeah, very excited about that. So, and I love the Pilates. I actually have my own studio, my own Elite Ballet. It's Elite Pilates LLC, and I coach, and that's something I love to do. I think not more than anything, but I love the studio setting. I love the group setting. I love the classes, but I love the one-on-ones. And to me, that's a gift. To be able to coach on one-on-one, and that's, I say, with my new business, that's what I do. And it's not only I've created my own method called the T Foy method, and that's just a combination of everything that I know. And I've in my years, you learn a lot of different things, and it's my basis obviously of classical ballet training, but it's also my knowledge of being a dance medicine specialist, working in a physical therapy clinic for over 30 years, understanding the body very well and how it works, and being gifted and have, learned so much under Keith Cleven. And, just to be able to see, a student or a professional having issues, whether it be I can look and see, how their gait is and know a lot of what's their problem. So we delve in more that in how they stand and how they, present themselves and they find, and I'm finding, because I'm I've got some really wonderful clients that I'm working with from the ages of 8 to 80.
Wow.
And it's really diverse, whether it be through Pilates, through the apparatus, through my own techniques, through, a ballet bar, just using all the tools that I have. But I just see the difference in, these students that come to me on a weekly or a bi-weekly basis. And it's just great to see that. And, I have, again, so much to offer. And I love it when I have a student that trusts me to be able to go, I need help.
Mm-hmm.
I need help, and we all need help, don't we? We all need help, but we don't know how to ask sometimes for it. And, I know that because I'm where I'm at with my experience in the classical ballet, it's, just in a general, anybody that teaches and is in that high up a launch level as maybe ballet mistress or something, we kind of like get a bit of a bad rap because ballet is so hard. And then you get told, you're mean, you're strict, and that's especially more in the studio setting, more than you would obviously in the companies and obviously in a conservatory. And it's, I wouldn't say unfortunately, you have to bring in that respect and that discipline in the genre that you're teaching. And that goes across the board, but something about the classical technique that if you're not that way inclined, I have to take it. It's so hard. It's kind of like, I'm saying, and it's a bit of an insult to all us that are out there that are making the change. And if it wasn't for teachers like myself and a whole host of other teachers in my community, then you wouldn't be doing what you're doing.
Do you
know what I'm saying? I mean,
I'm pretty sure he's an ex-Navy SEAL, but he wrote a book. And I quote it all the time. And I quote it specifically a lot of the times when it comes to ballet because it's the best quote. Discipline equals freedom.
It does.
The more disciplined you are, especially in that, the
that.
more you can do.
I love that. And I love that. And I think that's a great quote. It is that. But the thing is, for me, it's, I prepared them, especially if they're youth, for their life.
Mm-hmm.
It's like their life experience, what at this age, and you can just carry it forward for every day, whether you ever step a foot on stage or do anything, in our world of dance or as a sports or anything like that. It's just for life to understand, to be able to do well and carry yourself and be successful as a human being.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it is. And they get to the age when they start to understand it. And it's so wonderful when you see that and the light goes on and the appreciation of, we know that you love us and we care that you do care so much. And, and sometimes, I have, because I'm such a, passionate at what I do and what I love, and I'm Aquarius and I'm a humanitarian, and I just love people. I love animals. I love people. I love human beings. And, sometimes it gets, I get so, into it. And so, I don't know. Sometimes people think I'm probably a little off the wall or something. And I don't know. But my heart is always in the right place. And there are some people out there that just go, oh, whatever. But hey, I go, whatever. Doesn't matter. You don't get me. It's okay. But I always do it with love and never do it with anything that I shouldn't do. And if you really know me, and I have some incredible people in my life, like incredible friends that really know me and know this side that I am just, I love life. I love to laugh. I'm the comedian, I just have this raucous, outrageous, crazy laugh. And I'm a smiler and I love to smile and that's who I really am. But when you're in the setting, sometimes we have to be a little sterner in that, then yeah, that's when they go, oh, you're so mean and you're so hard and you're so strict. And I do it because I love you guys. Just saying. But anyway, but I do. I'm very lucky that, my time here in Las Vegas has been, incredible, just incredible, especially my first 30 years,
Mm-hmm.
full of experiences, the shows, the directors, the choreographers, the my lifelong friends that I've met, my family, my kids, it's been incredible.
Mm-hmm.
It's been just incredible. But, I'm in the chapter of my life now, my third chapter, where I want to do it for me now. I give so much. I give to the world and I still will and I still want to. But, that can be exhausting.
Yep.
And then you come home and you got nothing for yourself. Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of like, it's about me. It's my era.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to be a part of that, I would love that. But it's about me doing what I want to do for myself. This part of my life.
Amen.
Right?
Yeah.
It's not, it's time.
Mm-hmm.
It's time. And I couldn't be happier when I can see that I'm doing that now, and especially, this year, 2025. It's been pretty tough. My last 7 years was pretty tough, personally, anyway. So, but now it's good, and I feel so much better, and health-wise, and just myself, and back to who I used to be, and yeah, it's great. I have a bucket list, and I started to chip away at that bucket list, and I was in Greece for the summer, well, just, on holiday with my best friend. And it was something I've been wanting to do for forever. And I went, and it was like, I got to keep doing this.
Yeah.
When you say put off, when you put off things, and I do that, I was the worst procrastinator, but now I can't procrastinate anymore because I don't want to.
Yeah.
Because life's too short, and I need to just do what I want to do. And it to something that's fairly new for me. It's my gut instinct. My mother had that. She was incredible about meeting somebody and kind of like going, don't know how, are they good? They're not. And I I give everybody the benefit of the doubt, and I always look at the best of people, always, and always have. And no, they're great people, and then they turn around and they stab me in the back. But now I definitely gut feeling of that doesn't feel right, and I'm not going to do it. And that's helped me a lot. Mm-hmm. It's just helped me a lot because I just, again, when you get to a certain age, my friends, you can do that. No, I mean it. Be serious. Yeah. You absolutely can. So I'm doing it. If the gut says no, I'm not doing it. If the gut says yes, I'm there.
I love that. I have a quick topic jump because it's been in my brain. What is a dance medicine specialist?
So that is somebody that understands the body inside and out, the wrong way around, that can understand the mechanics, body mechanics of it, understand true alignment, and the kinetics of how somebody moves. Helps, obviously, through my background, through working with so many injured people, like just the general population. So, of course, dancers and athletes, but just general people, and helping them to move correctly. Mm-hmm. I mean, let's say, for instance, if I was working for a dancer that had a severe injury, whether it be any part of their bods, and they wanted to go back into show, so they would work with us. They would get their treatment, then they would work with us in our Pilates. And then in the clinic where we used to be, Keith was so wonderful. He built me a ballet studio called the Dance Center. And then from there, what I would do rehab ballet with them, or, dance movements that they needed to get them back on stage. And it was a great progression of that. That was so wonderful for them. And so, they were in like this phase, I'd say they had a bad knee or a bad hip. Then they started through time getting better, and then they were getting better, but they still didn't have the confidence in order to be able to go to that last phase, which would be getting them back, training. And so all that and all this, fundamental things that we gave them and what I took them through, that was able to be very successful, and that they would be able to, so yeah. But just the knowledge of understanding the body really well, and understanding my techniques.
And that's like a certification, or is that like
that was through our Polestar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think that kind of education changed you as a ballet mistress?
1 billion%. 1 billion%. I mean, I think having the knowledge of ballet and the classical technique is just part of it. And then when I was able to study and get more involved with that, huge. I mean, it opened my mind and my body and the way my body could move. Do you know what I'm saying? It was kind of like you held your position, in ballet back in the day when they told you to tuck. We don't tell you to tuck, but back in the day, and you sat and you did all, and things have changed. The words have changed. Anatomically, people are understanding what neutral is more than they'd ever done before. I mean, Pilates is huge, bigger than it has ever been, but, it's, Joseph Pilates introduced that, and, during the World War, in the, in I think it was 1940s. So back in, and he worked with amputees, and he built these apparatuses and these frameworks and the resistance assistance with the springs and it's been taken to another level, which is great to see that. And I mean, well, today our technology today is ridiculous. I mean, the things that we're able to do today, even 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Even 20, 30 years ago. So, one has to go with the times, and with that, you see the youth yourself, and you're much more tech savvy than I could ever be, because I wasn't brought up that way. I mean, I wasn't. There was no, back in the day, we didn't have the computers. So it was literally, pen and paper and encyclopedias. You had encyclopedias. You had the 12 encyclopedias in your library, in your bookcase at home. You didn't have the phone. Didn't have to be able to Google. Google what? Google what? Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, didn't have that. So what and what my son, who's 22, my youngest son, I mean, the speed on the computer and the knowledge is ridiculous back in my days. So I have to kind of like try and catch up as best as possible. And people of, my era, we do that. But what we do have is the experience and the knowledge. We definitely bring that to the surface. It's like, going out on the conventions, actually going out, and I'm very excited to be going to the Encore, dance experience that's in Dallas in a couple of weeks. Shout out Brad and shout out Aaron. And thank you so much for, bringing me in. I'm one of their judges and has been for many, many years on the Encore Performing Showcase competition. But I'm actually going to get back, on stage again and do the convention. And I'm excited about it because I loved that. I mean, I did that with West Coast Dance Explosion. I was their ballet teacher for 10 years and traveled for 10 years every weekend and met some incredible dancers that are infamous and famous today, and their teachers and their directors. And it was just such a great time to be on the circuit. In the mid-90s, it was great. And I miss it. I absolutely miss it. So I'm thrilled to be doing that, to be getting and to be bringing some more knowledge. It's different kind of knowledge that somebody of younger age that would do. Not to say that, because there's some incredible talent. I mean, incredible talent. I used to love not only teaching, I used to love teaching the teachers. That was probably one of my favorites. But I used to love the competition. So after you did your teaching, you'd get ready for judging. And you'd see this incredible talent. Just every year it would get better and better and better and better. And I know today, when I'm doing, my judging's out, and I see your math. I remember, I forget what city it was maybe it was in California. And the minis are now becoming like 4s and 5s and 6s that are ridiculous. So there was this 4-year-old 2.5-minute solo, and my mouth was like dropped. And I just kept on looking at the paper going, she can't be 4, she can't be 4. No way, no way, no way. The dancer can't be 4, the dancer. Unreal.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know what's in the water. I commend all of you incredible directors and choreographers and teachers of all these studios across the United States of America. I commend you, because there is gifts. There are gifts and talented students, but they're starting so young. It kind of like scares me a little bit, because the thing is, if you start at 4, you're going to be burnt out by 8.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's like, I'd love them still to be kids, but it's incredible to be able to see the uniqueness in these incredible, like, I don't know. They're just.
Oh, I know. I see some of the kids nowadays and I'm like, I would never have been able to survive.
Well, with social media, with the TikToks and all that. And I mean, it's incredible with that, that platform, social media, which we never had. I mean, we just didn't have that. So, I feel sorry that I don't have stuff that I can go, well, that was me when I was, this age, and that was my performance, because we just didn't have anything like that, which you do today. And even being a part of that social media network, for me, I'm still like, I got to get it together more, because that's what it's all about. It's all about that. And it's about, having to post. I mean, I commend Tyler Peck. Hi, Tyler. How you doing? I mean, I remember Tyler back in the day when she was a convention kid. And I mean, she posts every day because she has to, because she's got how many millions of views does she have? But that's the way to go, isn't it? That's hard work. That's a full-time job. It's a full-time job. But anyway, that's the way the world of everything's gone, especially after pandemic too, so, right? When people couldn't get out there and do what they wanted to do. I mean, things changed a lot, before that, but we're forever evolving, aren't we, friends? Aren't we?
Oh yeah. Always.
Yeah.
New phases of life, into new things.
Yeah.
How did you get involved with Cirque du Soleil? Like, did they just find you one day?
Well, actually, that's a funny story. Well, because I was at Siegfried Roy at the Mirage, so we'd been rehearsing in a warehouse for 5 months, and then eventually they built the hotel, the Mirage. We eventually got into the hotel, and it was incredible. It was the biggest stage and the biggest multimedia show at that time. It was, to be involved with that was insane, and I'm so blessed I was down there from the very, very beginning. And so there was this wonderful place that we all went to eat, the cafeteria called the Strip Joint, and we'd go, when we had our break, and I was there, and I bumped into a really good friend of mine, Sully Dewhurst. Shout out Sully Dewhurst. And Sally Dewhurst was from this incredible, famous, circus family called the Dewhurst. And I'd known of them from London, because they were all from the United Kingdom. Anyway, we bumped and we reminisced and we talked about our mutual friends, and how you doing and what's going on. And she was actually in Mystère at the time, because Mystère was coming, and to sit down into the theatre there and the TI. Anyway, kind of short, we chatted, and she said, "Gosh, Sarah, it's so great to see you, blah, blah, blah. What are you doing?" Anyway, she goes, "We are looking for, and you would be perfect, a ballet mistress for the company. Would you like?" And I turned, "Would I what? Of course I would." No brainer. So, yeah, I was appointed and worked, with their first show, which was Mystère. And so, Nouvelle Expérience was the first show that had brought into the tents, which was in our parking lots. And that was down for a year, and they wanted to see, obviously, how Cirque would do in this town. And it did phenomenally well. And so then they were bringing Mystère in to sit down at the TI. And they were in Montreal, obviously, doing the rehearsals for 8 months. And then they were brought in, and I was contracted to teach the company 6 days a week. They had 6 days a week. And then I, was there, working with Debbie and Chantal, and it was just incredible experience. Now, the dancers, there was only 6 dancers, which there's still today. There was the 2 lizards, the Black Widow, Belle, and, it escapes me, the other 2. They're having a brain fart. Anyway, Cathy Renaud was the original Black Widow, and she came in to the show. And then, so today, all these years later, Cathy is the senior resident director of all the shows here in Las Vegas. So she came as one of our dancers in Mystère. Anyway, so 6 days a week. Oh my gosh. So I was doing 6 days a week with Mystère. So the classes were at 9 o'clock to 10:30. I then was doing a show called Star Odyssey, which was a show at the Stardust. And it was a 20-minute show, which was one of those little 20-minute shows that you did. And it was just myself and my dance partner. And it was a laser effect show, but it had a little story to it. And so I would do that show 3 days a week. And then I would be taking classes, or I would be teaching it backstage, that 4:30 show. And then I would go and drive to the Mirage to do my 2 shows at night at Siegfried Roy. And that was going on for a long time.
Wow.
And I was like, hello. Anyway, so my first year with Mystère, they had me just do the dances. And then they loved what I did. And then my second year I worked with all the companies, so the athletes and everything. So they would be required to do ballet class. So all the other fabulous Olympic champions that we had, yeah, they did. And it was amazing. So that was so great. And so my longevity with the company then went from one show to another, to another, to another. So all the way up until Humanity, and that was 25 years plus. And so after pandemic, when things started to change, and they were doing different things, and they, then became a corporate company and stuff like that. But yeah, the times there were some amazing times working with some incredible incredible dancers, gosh, like the best of the best of the best. So that was a wonderful time. And then just going from one show to the other and working, for Toilette Thought when she came in with her show. And that was incredible. My gosh. And then Celine Dion and Medley Show and gosh, Spamalot and the producers and gosh, Havana Nights and obviously, the Stardust, which was Enter the Night, which I actually was able to, I was hired actually. Terry Lovin, the late Terry Lovin, he hired me to do a whole load of things, from ballet mistress to principal coach to choreography to a dancer to feature dancer to doing the laser to, I had 20 jobs of that because I was so tiny and they had to kind of like, well, she's specialty.
Mm-hmm.
She's only 5 foot nothing, but she's specialty and she can do all this stuff. So they were able to allow me to do the show. So here was I with my buddies from Enter the Night. Shout out Enter the Night. Yay. All my buddies from there. But they're like, again, so tall and there was tiny little me, but they had given me heels, 4-inch heels to dance in.
Mm-hmm.
And I was still like, and when, I actually, in my dressing room, I had a friend, Joy. She was 6'1" in her stocking feet. So with heels, she was a little taller than that. So she sat down and I stood up. When I stood up, she sat down. So it was like...
That's hilarious.
That's one of my little funny stories. But yeah, so I danced with a lot of the brilliant, tall, but fabulous. But it was incredible journey to be able to have done the laser. That was probably one of my favorite dancing moments in one of the shows. That was there was 5 guys and there was 1 girl, and she was in point shoes and did this incredible choreography. Ted Lorenz, he had done that, but he did the show for Tonight, but it was done from a lot of the girls that originally did it, Liz and Tanya and Sharon, and they had choreographed that. Most definitely, because it was a very balletic adagio. Mm-hmm. And anyway, it was one of the most incredible things you ever saw at that time in the show, but on the strip. And everybody wanted to do it. Everybody wanted to do it. And they had some incredible ballerinas to do it. So when Terry had called me and said, Tara, I want you to do this part, but you have to do all this other stuff too. I'm like, I'm in. Mm-hmm. So that was oh my gosh, such an honor. Like this guy's just spinning you around, throwing you up in there. You hardly ever touch the floor ever. And it was the most incredible, exhilarating, piece. This number was just amazing. And I was very blessed when Terry passed away. We had this big celebration of life for him. And Terry had asked his partner, Michael, who was still a dear friend of mine, if I would be the one that would do this laser for us for the celebration life. So that was a huge honor for me to do that. When there was so many other incredible dancers, but it was an incredible piece. And just being in that show with these great, was a fabulous Enter the Night. Was a fabulous show, I got to say. It was different to Siegfried Roy, which was different to Comedy Cabaret that I was in. Did a lead adagio there, which was different to the Excalibur, where I played the jester. Singing and dancing and jumping off and down the wall and getting stood on by, the big old horses. And oh my gosh, again, food poisoning from eating too much tuna in the helps hall. And, funny.
So out of all your journeys and stories, what do you think is the funniest one?
Well, that was pretty funny. That was pretty funny. It was kind of funny, but as I said, when I get a little stomach problem with the tuna, I had to run to the restroom, and I still had my mic on.
During the show, you had to go to the restroom?
I did, yeah, because I wasn't feeling very well, because I had this tuna from the helps hall. And so, yeah, that was kind of like I'd run to the restroom. But I said my mic was on, so I don't know what anybody heard, but I don't think it was. No. That was funny. It wasn't funny at all, but no, there's been funnies. I've in several different, I've slipped and, I get to the point sometimes I get hysterical. And, this one thing that I was doing, I slipped and I fell, actually hurt myself, not pretty badly, but I couldn't get up for the life of me. I was laughing so hard. And it was a little thing. It was a little concert I was doing. Actually, my son was in it. He was only young, and it was a little segment called Be a Clown, and we were being clowns literally, and my son was just like trying to help me up, and I mean it was just hysterical. I mean I just felt like I was Bambi from when Bambi is born and getting all over the place. I mean that was pretty hysterical, but again when I started laughing I laughed my pants off. And there was another time, oh gosh, I was doing this special event and I was supposed to be flown out of a cannon, like a cannon, right? But it's a fact, isn't it? So kind of like that, and I was flown out of cannon. Really was. And so things happen so fast, and they send some of the equipment off stage, and somebody was left in part of this equipment off stage and for 20 minutes, and I'm yelling, somebody get me out of here! Somebody get me out of here! And the show was loud and was going on, and people were passing me by, and I was trying to get this tiny little.
Did no one notice you were not out of the cannon?
Nobody noticed at all, and I'm somebody help me in this tiny little hole here, and I was trying to get my hand out to touch somebody when they would pass by, and somebody help me get me out of. 20 minutes later, somebody went, my God, I think we left Tara at the cannon. Came to get me. I mean, it wasn't, but it was kind of funny. I mean, it was, yeah, we all had a.
Now it's hilarious to think back on. But back then, when it happened, it was not funny. It
wasn't funny. And then when I was in Enter the Night, so again, I was the smallest, okay? And so somebody played a prank on me and they thought it was hysterical, and I did think it was hysterical. But so we had mirrors. So obviously, you're checking your headdresses, you're checking your makeup before you go on. Well, somebody thought it was hysterical to give me a mirror to put it on the wall like a 3-foot height. They put it on with Tara Foy on there, Tara Foy's own mirror. So it was funny. I mean, it really, really funny. I mean, and everybody just every night goes, and who didn't, we could never find out. And at the end, I found out who it was at the very, very end, like years later. And they said, that was kind of cute. It was more cute than funny. But, as I said, I'd come in there and I'd have to drop down really low at my height, even so, because they'd done it really, really low on me. And I'd be like, that was kind of cute. And then, gosh, and Siegfried Roy, the elephant used to take a dump. 2.5-ton elephant called Gilda. God bless her. She used to dump big cannon dumps on stage and pee and with there. And, that was funny when one New Year's Eve, Gilda kicked the big old poo and it landed on somebody dressed in white, all dressed up to the nines, and just oh my gosh, it was just such a mess. It was funny though. I mean, you had to be there. It was hysterical. Yeah. So that was kind of a laugh at one of our New Year's.
That's a movie moment.
Yeah, we had great New Year's Eve though there. They were terrific. Those New Year's Eves at Siegfried Roy, because it was Channel 8 used to do it live. From the Mirage, and it was always we'd come in and sing Old Lang Syne, and those were fun things. But yeah, I mean, there's lots of bits and bobs that you remember. But yeah, again, for some of the stuff for me, if I just find something funny, I'm out and I'm done, and I'm just tears. I can't help it. I think of all the bad things that you could do to make you stop laughing, but once I'm off and off and running. But it's been great, I've been so lucky to have done some incredible shows again at the height that I'm in. That very first show that I did at the Hacienda, that's now the Mandalay Bay, there was the hits of the 80s choreographed by Jerry Jackson, and auditioned for that because it had no height requirements on there. And there was a ton of people. There's hundreds and hundreds of people auditioning for that show. I remember that. And I was lucky enough to get down all the way to the very, very end. And so, I mean, it was great. I mean, that was doors open, as I was telling you before, for small people like herself, or petite. And that opened the doors for a lot of people. And then obviously with Siegfried Roy, there was no height requirement on that. The choreographer at the time was looking to go taller, but the director and the producers, they liked me a lot and wanted to use me. The choreographer that actually was choreographing the show, Anthony Van Laast, he actually hired me when I was in Peter Pan. in London. So I knew him.
Oh.
I knew him. So it wasn't of my talent, but by any means, it was just my height. They were thinking of going taller, but they didn't. They made it. They want to make it different, and so they had 40 girls in the show. There was 40 girls of the cast for Siegfried Roy. There was 10 acolytes. There was 10, or maybe it was 10. I don't know. There was a lot of us. All in all, with cast and crew, there was 100 of us. But anyway, I got the show. I was given the show. When they called me, I was like, "Are you sure? Are you sure? I'm only 5'2". Are you sure you want me? Because my friends have already been hired. They're 5'8". You sure?" Like, yeah. So anyway, it was great. It was a wonderful show. It was a great experience. It was great to work with Siegfried Roy so closely on the illusions. It was great to choreograph, and it was a great experience. They are missed. I miss them. They loved, to come and watch us perform on all our other projects that we're doing. Siegfried was unbelievable, and he was so wonderful to me and always encouraged me. I had done this flying act with my partner, Gilles Reichardt, who was French and was, had performed with Nureyev, and he's wonderful. He's actually a very good Pilates teacher here in town. He's got a wonderful studio here, and I had choreographed flying ballet for us. And it was, at that time, it was done manually. So we needed 2 people for each of us to be able to maneuver the system. So one to travel and one to fly us. And so it was choreographed not only for what we were doing, but I was choreographing what they were doing. And it was great. And it's called On Lair. Go look it up on YouTube. It's fantastic. It's a great piece. It's wonderful. And so that kind of we created that, early 90s, but that was kind of like a new thing that people hadn't seen before.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of interest, of putting it into the show and Siegfried Roy. There was a lot of interest in putting it into the Rockettes. It didn't actually happen, but it was something new that they hadn't seen before. And then, obviously when you've got the resources and stuff and the shows and the vehicles and that, then people see that and they go, "Oh, we'd like to do that." But we definitely created something completely new. Myself and my first husband, Gary, we created something incredible. So that was lovely to be involved with that, something completely different. And through that, I got to work with some incredible ballet companies, to stage and create the flying, for Dracula, for, Peter Pan, so a lot of different things that I was able to do with my knowledge of ballet, but also my knowledge of flying to create. So, and then working with all those big iconic people, it was great to be able to have and see them fly. And, it's not easy to do that. Now it's a given. Now people, but back then, it wasn't. It was a novelty. It was a novelty. So, I had, some principal dancers of major ballet companies like, I'm scared. But yeah, it was great. So that was another string to my bow as well, to have that. And then just choreography, to be able to work so closely again with James in Nevada Ballet Theatre and create, I love story ballets. He said to me that the work that I did with him made him fall in love with story ballets again. And that was one of the biggest compliments you could get from anybody, and especially artistic director. And I just love that. And so, I enjoy so much, because for me, when I was, performing in the company, in the ballet company, I was very much like the actress. I had great acting teachers and singing teachers in the academy. So, I had all that underneath my belt, but chose the ballet route because that was my love. But I also loved the musical theatre as well. And that was wonderful. So when I did Pan, in the West End, doing Tiger Lily and, performing, with the great Bonnie Langford and Just Ackland, it was just incredible, to do that. And I'd come straight from the ballet world, and I'd auditioned for Pan for Anthony and got the part. And I was like, I hadn't sung for a long time, but I just, got a natural voice and whatever. So it was just great to be able to be in that environment, that musical theatre environment. I just loved it. But then I came and into America, and then just fell into what I was doing. So, but I still film of myself as a theatre mage, and would still, love to get involved in that kind of, area, because they do some wonderful shows here. Gosh, such great productions here at Spring Mountain Ranch, and, Signature does some fabulous stuff. And, so not to say that I wouldn't love to someday, audition as, I don't know what, and be, singing and dancing up there and doing, because why not?
Yeah.
Why not? So there's lots of, lots of things I still want to do, and I want to do them until I can't. I think that's it. I think that's how you stay young. If you sit and be sedentary, I know what it's like to be injured, and I know what it's like to be bigger than I normally am, and that was never me. And I feel blessed that, I'm almost back to normal like I used to be, and that makes me feel great, about myself, inside and outside, more inside than outside, and understand when I see, people that struggle, that I understand it. I understand it. And even though, people say, oh, Tara, you weren't. Oh, heck, I was. Look at pictures of me last year. And I go, what? Wow. But that's also a lot of other things that builds up to make you be like that, but I feel blessed. I feel good. And, I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky. I love it here. I love America. I feel very blessed that I have made this my home. When they say it's the land of the free, and the opportunities are no end, you can do anything if you put your mind to it, and you really can. It's not quite so like that there, back where I was from, it's not. But here it is, and so I love it. I'm not going anywhere. I thought maybe that I might, a little while back, but no. I still have family. I still have a lot of family. My siblings are there, and I still got, an uncle, and I have nieces. I'm a great aunt, I've got massive cousins, and, so it's great. I've got that family there, which is really, really nice. But, but I've got family here, which are my great friends, so, and I have an incredible son who is just my heart. I just flew back yesterday. I just went to see him in Cedar Point. He's in one of the shows there called The Wake the Dead, and he was beyond brilliant, and I was so proud. I was so proud. He's worked so hard, and it hasn't been easy for him having parents that were both in the business and are both well known at all. So he's had to find his own way, and he's done it. And I am just I very proud as his mother. As his mother, he makes me proud to for that. So yes, I think being a parent is one of the hardest jobs ever. I really do. I do. So for all you parents out there and all you mums, I think you're terrific, because it's not easy. It really isn't. Especially when you're juggling being a parent and juggling jobs and stuff like that. Especially if you're on your own too. That's not easy. If you've got, support with family, that is easy. That's a piece of cake. But when you're on your own and you're trying to take care of everything, that's hard.
Yep.
So, but yeah, very proud.
Has there ever been a time in your journey in the entertainment world, dance world, that you wanted to just quit and walk away from it?
No, not even, when I, as I say, got a little injured there, I just, I wanted to soldier on. I feel for me that, there are such horrible people out there that they do everything that they can to try and destroy, to put you down, to make you think that you're not worth, make you think that you're not any good. And I don't own it. I did for a minute, but I know I'm better than that. And I know I'm better than they are, as in, what sort of person are you to even think that about somebody? What sort of people? People are cruel.
People are bored.
Well, people, that's true. Yeah, they just, they always trying to find something to do, just, whatever it is. And,
well, if they're focusing on others, they're not focusing on themselves.
Yeah, whatever. And they think, being bullied, because that's so prevalent in our society. I don't care if they're young or old. You can be bullied at any age, mentally bullied. And I've had that. And I refuse to own it. And I'm a better person than you are. And no, I've got through everything. I got through a lot. And you come at me with all you want, but, you're wasting your time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a good person, and I'm a loyal person, and a decent person, and a hard worker, and I, love people, and I love life, and I wouldn't deliberately go and do that, because if I do, I'd feel I couldn't sleep.
Mm-hmm.
I know, but there are people out there that would do that. So, no, all good. This is great. Thank you for this. It's like anything. Like, it doesn't matter what your success is. Everybody always needs to have another platform to go out there. I mean, McDonald's always advertising, aren't they? And one of the biggest franchise in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So, to be able to go and say, hey, yes, I'm still out there, and I'm still doing, and, I want to do a lot more of traveling and back on the circuit, and do a lot more teaching and take my own program. I have the Elite Ballet intensive workshop and program that I take all over the country into studios and make a difference. And something I created 25 years now, celebrate next year. So, and I'm still doing it. And again, just very blessed that I have the ability and the knowledge from my great mentors and training. And I feel passing it and paying it forward is what I've been doing. And now to see how these students that are so successful and doing such great work in what their fields are, I feel very, very proud. I feel like the matriarch of Las Vegas in the field of what I do, and I'm very blessed. I feel very blessed to still be doing it and do it until I can't. I don't know. I mean, I know I found the love of travel this summer. I went to London. My nephew got married in Holland. So was in Holland and then Greece, and then, just traveling. And I love them. I want to go back. I love Europe to travel in.
Mm-hmm.
Just it's sensational. And, I love the food. I love the culture. I love the weather. Yeah, it was really, really nice. So I definitely want to do more of that. But again, this is my home, and, I'm here to help in any way I can for those that need it.
I can only imagine how you've sat here and told me about all the amazing people you've learned from.
Yeah.
I can only imagine what people who've learned from you would say.
Well, it's just so lovely. You get these notes and messages. I have hundreds and hundreds of cards that I keep because I think somebody's taken the time to tell me how they thought and the things that I've done to them. And they still, text us. I do save them. I do save them all because you're all human, and we all have bad days, and we all think that we're not good enough and we suck. And so when you have that come across your phone, or somebody hands you a note and just thanks you for being you and to have done what you've done, it's very rewarding. And I've never and will never do it just to get that, to get that out of it. I do it because I want to do it. My heart tells me, it's just because I love to see how I can see how people can change. I see potential in everybody, not just as I say, as a dancer, as an athlete, just as people, and I see growth, and I love that. I love to see the change. I love to see with TAPS, Ballet Mistress of TAPS now, going into 4 years. And that program is, as you know, is incredible. And I thank Don, Moralt, and Julie every day for giving me that opportunity in working with these great kids that come to us for 6 months and train. And I get to teach them ballet every day. And are they the ballet dancers? They don't want to be doing it, and they're scared. Most of them coming and going, oh, well, I have day. But at the end of the day, they have learned so much. And they have changed considerably in so many different ways, and especially their bodies. I have seen such change.
Oh, I completely changed,
right?
And as a dancer through TAPS, but also specifically ballet.
Yes.
I loved ballet before TAPS, but I think I really truly
Grew
found
to love with it.
even more appreciation and
I know, and that's,
love for ballet.
but that is so wonderful. You know, being in that, as it is not like a, you know, ballet company and dances that you'll never, you know, don't turn them into ballet. You know, ballet, I had no intentions of doing that, but you know, even to the uniform, will you get them to wear pink tights and the guys to wear the ballet uniform? And the first year, well, they weren't having it. The boys weren't having it. And then the second year, I was like, well, and they do now. The boys wear the appropriate attire and they look and feel the part. And that's the thing. You know, when you're in any of the classes, you want to look and feel the part because then you'll, you know, be able to perform better. That's the whole idea about that. So, you know, such growth there and there's some great talent and yeah, it's really great. And I love it. And I'm blessed because I get to do what I love to do every day in an amazing environment. And that's what makes me happy. That's what makes me happy. And just to see them, you know, make a subtle change, the subtle changes. And then they turn around and they go, oh my gosh, I couldn't do that. Like, you know, a month ago, I couldn't do that. A week ago, I could. And to see them excel and see the excitement and see the fear, because you were in that situation, and the nervousness of, oh my God. And then they let go and then they become the person that they want to become. And then Helene comes in and does the makeover and then they become this incredible, different, you know, person, you know, visually, not only from the inside out. So I feel very, very blessed. I feel thankful that I'm there and I go in there every day because that fills my heart. That fills my heart. You know, working with my people that I work with, you know, at my home studio, that fills my heart. That fills my heart a lot. You know, it does, and it makes me happy. And I just, you know, that's the way I want to be. I don't want to be, you know, just not being in an environment that doesn't make me happy. Because that's not good for anybody, is it? You know, so, but again, I do appreciate the wonderful things and the people and the opportunities. And I want so much more opportunities. I want to get out there even more as much as I can. So, you know, so if anybody wants to hire Mama T or do whatever, I'm up for it. But yeah, and I want to say until I can't, until the body says no, no more. But, you know, yeah, just thank you. Again, it's just very blessed in this and just, you know, to still be considered kind of like, you know, to have the reputation in town and be, you know, kind of iconic of what I've brought to the town and through a lot of the people that are still here that have come across my path and have now done something with it and more so. So I'm very, very proud to have been a part of that journey for them too. So
yeah, I mean, you and I haven't had a ton of experience together, but even in just the little bits, I was like, I knew it was like she has so much to share.
Yeah.
And so much to give.
Yeah, the sharing, but the giving part, definitely. Yeah, and the thing is, you know, I have always, even today, loved being the student. You know, I will be constantly doing workshops and new certifications and anything I can to be the best I can be and better. I want to be better every single day. You know, you only the best you can be from your last performance, you know. I want to be that, and I learn from every student that I come across and very open to, you know, what they know and what they want to give and their suggestions and, you know, a collaboration because they matter. They matter. These kids matter. They matter to me, and I want to know what they're thinking, how they're feeling. Do you know what I'm saying? Because you don't know what's going on. If you don't ask, you don't know what's going on in their lives. And I mean, I've been pretty, you know, private. I'm pretty private person, but I think of late, I just find myself, because I want to, it's kind of like open up and tell stories to the kids and these young kids. And I'm like, then I reflect and go, why did you do that? Why did you do that? Because it was something I felt that I wanted to do and share. It just came out. It wasn't something I was thinking about. It just came out. And I think for them to think that you are also human, that you are, you know, I remember during the pandemic times and I was masked up. I was gloved up. I was, hooded up. I had it all going on. I mean, I just couldn't afford to be sick, period. No, could anybody else, but I just couldn't. And so that went on for the 2 years, and it was my safety net, okay, to do that. But then I was told that, I was told that the kids thought they were scared. They can only see your eyes, and you need to take the mask off. Please don't tell me to take my mask off, because it's it's a personal thing. You either wear your mask or you don't. I don't want anybody telling me. And I was being told, take my mask off.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very nervous about doing it. But I could understand. And I said, you know what? I'm listening. I listened and I did it. And I was like, I totally understand, and then obviously when I felt a little bit safer that I could do that, I did. And I could, see the difference of the kids, because then they could see not just this, but this, the smiles, the encouragement, if they could actually see my mouth moving, so there was something to be said about that. But I was nervous. I won't lie about that, being around so many kids, and these kids get sick like wildfire. And as I said, I just couldn't afford to be doing, to be getting sick, so that was an interesting time, being a teacher and that and everything. But anyway, thank goodness that's all in the past. And it's something that I felt we needed to have, not as severe as we did, but something needed to change in our world. Something just needed to be shifted. So we're now, going into out of 2025. I can't believe we're at the end of the year going into 2026. I mean, who knows what that's going to hold for us, but.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, it's good. I hope bigger and better things. For myself. That's what I'm looking for. That's what's the goals and aspirations, bigger and better, and be the best I can be, and be reaching out as much as I can across the country, and learning from them. Always, it's a give and take, just give and take. So, that's what, I'm hoping for and looking forward to, and just keep going and keep doing.
It's inspiring to talk to as many people as I have, who have accomplished many great things, who are still
doing it, right?
Yeah, still doing it, but still, driving for more, hungering for more, they are still not.
It's not just finished. The thing is, it's like,
it's never done.
Yeah, it's like filling that plate up. It's never going to be filled. There's always going to be more. There's going to be room. For me, there's more room for growth. There's more room for, getting to learn more, the knowledge. I want to learn as much as I can about as much as I can to be better, and to have that, because that gives you confidence too. It gives you confidence in so many different ways, just being as like being a human being. But it certainly does. So, I hope to be going way in my 90s. I really do. I mean, I have a dear friend who's also teacher. She's supposed to be over at UNLV, Margot. Hello, Margot. Milk Corbett. I mean, she's, way up there, and she's still working and teaching. And, I mean, I have just the mentors of these people. And, even one of my clients, I mean, she just turned 80 and she looks like she's 50.
I love it, because it's just,
I mean, it's
people, I hear it all the time, that they think that there's a certain limit where you have to give it up. And it's like, no, you don't have to give it up.
You don't. I just read a story of, I think it was, this lady started taking ballet at 62. She's done it for 10 years now, and she takes 2 ballet classes a day, 1 to 2 ballet classes a day, and she's 72 now, and she said it was everything to me. I mean, I was like going, that's amazing. Just so when you hear that, and when you read things like that, right?
Blows my mind. I just watched a video the other day of a 93-year-old doing an Olympic weightlifting competition.
Yes, I know. I see it. Yes. Yep.
And there's people in close to that age running Ironmans.
They are.
And triathlon.
Yeah.
And it's like, what?
Yeah.
How is that possible? And you think you have to give this industry or this career up at 30?
Yeah. And I mean, so that, yeah,
What?
that, I know, no. And I mean, that's the thing. I don't, and for me, when I hear that, like a student, they're in there, well, I'm going across to teaching. And I said, you can teach at any age. Please continue. And I'm very much for that, for my students that I think that should be out there performing and doing what they want to do and being in the industry as long as they can. Do that. Don't set in your ways and just, hang up your shoes and then become a teacher. Not to say, because I mean, I've done extremely well in what I've done with my teaching. Absolutely. But, there's only 2% of, there's some brilliant teachers out there, but compared to not, do you know what I'm saying? So I encourage, as I say, all my students, like a few I told you, to say, you need to keep going. Do whatever you keep doing, because, you guys are too talented and you'll find the niche. You're finding little niches to do, but you have to, if you love it, you have to love it. It's too hard not to. You love it. You got to love it. You got to eat, sleep, drink it. Otherwise, it's just not too hard and you've got to find yourself something else to do, because then your heart won't be in it. And then the audience will know. Faker, marking. And believe me, I've been on stage with a ton of them. I go, what are you doing? I'm not going to put my leg down and stop smiling just because you're not. You know what I'm saying? I'm not doing it. I mean, it was for the show for SNR, and we were dancing our pants off in the very, very beginning. And then as years went by, they kind of cut the show down for Siegfried Roy, because, they went for 14 years until Roy had his accident. But so there was this one number that we call was Celebration, and we were all like little bugs and stuff like that, and unitards and what have you. And then, and so, we did, and I was very blessed. I had some fabulous spots. It's all about having the fabulous spots, right? And I was always on the passerella, and that passerella was this big, and, you had to suck up, and, you were sliding on, favoritas, which was our beautiful stallions, slobber and poo and the pee and the vulture vomit and the tiger pee and everything. But at the very, very end, and then I would do my and then we ran off stage, and believe me, the stage was like a football field, and I would run, and I would always be the last person off the stage, and it became a thing then. And then Tara Foy last, and then they had the special spotlight on me. Thanks, Liz. Anyway, so ran, and Tara Foy would be like this, and I was just like loving life. This was like everything, and I would just like take it all in. Yep, like this, spotlight on, the house was filled, and I just ran off this with my wings, just thinking this. I was like, I had made it. I had made it. I was in this incredible multi-million-dollar show with the most famous illusionists in the world, and here was I, on stage with them, and doing so much incredible things. So, you drink it up, and you love it, and you own it, and you don't want those times ever to stop. And so you have to put them in. You have to take a picture, a mental picture of it, and you just remember. And I remember just running with my back arched, my arms back with my wings flowing. I was like, but it's great. If you love it and you love the stage and you love to perform, there's nothing like it. There is nothing. I mean, I don't drink. I don't do any of that other stuff. Never, 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 never have. Anybody that knows me will tell you that. But that, to me, is exhilarating. That's probably to me like when somebody gets, one too many or gets a little high or whatever. It's just like being on stage and seeing the audience like loving what you're doing and smiling, and that's what, when I see something fabulous, I'm at the edge of my seat and I'm just like beaming, because you're bringing so much joy to me. And so when you see a whole theater full of just like us, it. Nothing like it.
There's nothing like it. There's nothing that will come close to it.
No, and that's why you got to keep on doing. I mean, I was doing a little benefit last year for Golden Rainbow, which I was a part of for many years, for 30 years. And I was asked by one of my students that was putting this piece together if we'd be part of it. And I said, absolutely. And I brought myself out and put little shoes on and put my little Christmas outfit on. And I was like, this is so cool. I don't think I should have been out there looking the way I was looking, but I did, because I loved it. And it was so fabulous. So, unless they get the old the old hook out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going anywhere.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Well, I don't have any other questions for you. Is there anything else you wanted to say or leave?
No, I appreciate it. I just, as I say, you're doing a great service with this podcast.
Oh, thank you.
I think it's wonderful. I think, you're a go-getter and you find something to do and to create. And I love that.
Thank you.
I love that when somebody finds something that they are good at and want to, bring it to the forefront.
Thank you.
So keep doing what you're doing. And I thank you guys for listening to me ramble on about me, myself, and I. That's 3 people. There's only one of me. There's only one of me. But it's been great. And so enjoy. Yeah. So I think.
And I'll leave a way to get in contact with you.
Oh, please do. Absolutely. Training sessions, coaching one-on-ones, whatever classes, or going out to, to schools and studios. I mean, I love that. Like, that's what I love to do. So
I'll leave that way to contact you in the description box. And
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Before the Curtain. Please be sure to rate, review, and subscribe wherever it is you listen to the podcast. We love to hear your virtual round of applause. If you know of a production or artist that deserves to have their story told, send us an email or message us on Instagram by clicking the link in the description.